Good afternoon, dear friends. Last month, we launched a series of live broadcasts with the heads of Russian houses around the world. In March, we meet Daria Pushkova, the head of the Russian house in Italy. We learned about their work, how the Russian house survived the quarantine, and about the relationship between Russian and Italian cultures. Today, we greet our new guest, Антон Чесноков, the head of the Russian house in London. Anton will tell us about the work of the office in the United Kingdom, the attitude towards Russian in Britain, and the future plans of the Russian house in London. Remember to leave your questions for the speaker in the comments. It's time for us to begin. Good evening, Anton.
Good evening, and thank you for having me, Mikhail.
I would like to start with the first question. Let's start with some historical background and briefly tell the audience about the history of the Russian house in London. When was the representative office first opened in the United Kingdom, and what important milestones have been achieved, in your opinion?
Thank you, Mikhail. That's a great question to begin with, and that's the question that brings a lot of good memories. So here in London, it all started nearly 10 years ago, beginning of 2012. We were very honored and really lucky to have a grand opening with the first British woman in space, Helen Sharman, and His Royal Highness, Prince Michael of Kent. We opened our doors of this fantastic modern Russia house located right in the most central London cultural hotspot, Kensington High Street, not far away from Kensington Palace. The concept idea was really to create a welcoming and inclusive space for vibrant, dynamic, and creative, mostly London-based community to host a variety of events that connect Russian-speaking and British public. So today, Russian House comprises of a beautiful gallery, which you can see behind me, hosting changing exhibitions. Also, it is the place where we host most of our fantastic events like regular concerts, movie premieres, business forums, networking events, educational activities, well, just to name a few. Then we have a superb modern library with online access to Russian state libraries and universities, and high-tech computer lab, where we host most amazing STEM educational activities, including programming and 3D printing. So I like to see Russian House in London really as accelerator hub for creative, cultural, and educational projects, as well as humanitarian projects, projects that empower talented compatriots and UK multicultural society. So our main objective, and let's call it our ambition from day one, remains unchanged. It's to promote a friendly knowledge and understanding between the people of Russia and the UK by really creating a value-added, people-oriented project that's making a positive contribution to both Russian and UK agendas. Through this, making a really long-lasting positive impact and difference to the Russia's prosperity and humanitarian diplomacy. Really a positive influence.
Those are very ambitious goals you have. And generally, how do you assess the state of United Kingdom-Russia relations today? Despite the complexities of the current political context, the two countries have a lot of shared culture and history. Do you think this connection will help mend relations between Russia and the United Kingdom?
Yes, Mikhail, that's a really interesting question. Especially today with the latest news. Well, it's not a secret. Political relations are tense. In my opinion, this is partly because Russia and the UK have fundamentally different perceptions of recent history and the current state of international order. Historically, when there are dark days in political or diplomatic relations, and it becomes difficult to agree on some issues during such crisis, cultural relations and educational opportunities are critical and absolutely indispensable to maintain ongoing dialogue between people and institutions. As you know, our history of Anglo-Russian bilateral relations goes back to 16th century. The Kingdom of England and the Tsardom of Russia established relations far away in 1553. We live and continue to have ups and downs, but fundamentally we share the idea that whatever the political climate, cultural diplomacy always provides the idea that whatever the political climate is, cultural diplomacy provides a vital point of contact and plays the part of a kind of backbone that supports and enriches both vertical and horizontal structure of bilateral relations. And it's really important to step back and have a perspective for both sides, and a long-term perspective for both sides. Russia always remains open-hearted and committed to the development of long-term people-to-people links with the United Kingdom. I guess it's a very similar position that UK takes and holds. We do have a lot in common, both historically and culturally. Cultural engagement has a really extraordinary and almost magical force and ability to transform relations between people. Here at Russia House, we believe that great and much loved, especially by the multicultural British public, cultural and humanitarian projects really help to underline the historical importance of Russian heritage, at the same time to showcase the 21st century modernity of Russia and present it in its full beauty to the UK's audience. Connection between our people remains very strong. I feel that our relations evolve quality-wise. Russia becomes more popular and more attractive in the eyes of British multicultural society, and especially amongst the generation Z. So someone was around 10 to 22 years old right now. Generation who are really looking for new educational and career opportunities around the world and in Russia. Also, there is a great travel potential, especially once the borders reopen. Moscow and St. Petersburg consistently attract visitors from all over the world, as well as, for example, 29 UNESCO heritage sites across Russia. There is always something new to explore.
Sorry, I cannot avoid this, C word, despite the restrictions that have been put in place due to the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic. The Russian House in London remained active and held multiple events. Could you tell us more about the way that the Russian House adapted to the new conditions, and what innovations do you plan to introduce in the future?
Yes, Michael, we're all in the same boat with the COVID-19 pandemic. We live in absolutely extraordinary times. The majority of the world population are currently living under some kind of movement restrictions, and our daily commute, work, and sociability has been almost entirely mediatized. It's been put online. 1 year on, since last March, UK still faces strict social distancing measures. We had 3 lockdowns since last March. We're still in one now. People lost friends and members of families due to this pandemic. We really hope for recovery towards June, July this year. Really, the best of humanity has shown through this gloom of 2020-2021 pandemic. Dedication of doctors and scientists across the globe has been remarkable, not just for producing a string of life-saving breakthroughs, including vaccines, but also by providing timely response and help in need for people in need. On our side, well, it's been a real culture shock. No one expected this kind of dramatic scenario to happen. No one was prepared, and we did not even think that it would take such a prolonged period of time. Cultural and creative sectors are most important in their own right in terms of their economic footprint and employment and impact. These disciplines spur innovation across the economy like no other, as well as contribute to positive social impacts like well-being, mental health, education, inclusion, etc. The creative and education sectors were among the hardest hit by this pandemic. We had to rethink and transform our operations and processes in Russia House. I must say that all of our Russian House team, friends, partners were absolutely fantastic. Straight away, we established understanding that we should work together and get things done despite national lockdowns and strict rules that were required and put in to follow. We were very agile and moved most of our events online. That really gave a good push to our digital and social media platforms. We had amazing concerts featuring world-renowned singers, musicians, artists, marking our national holidays like 75th Victory celebration on the 9th of May, Day of Russia, opera singers, charity concerts helping children in need, exhibitions dedicated to women artists, and climate change awareness exhibition, which is one behind me. Much more, many projects. Again, we could not do it without our partners in the UK, and they were absolutely great. Also, it was fantastic to see our Russian-speaking community, our compatriots coming close as one and organize help and support groups for each other, as well as, most important, for the local communities. I think that was really great. Well, they were helping people who had to self-isolate, help with food, essential deliveries. I think that's amazing initiative. Really shows, this Russian soul. It really showed their true kind and showed them from the side of being open-hearted to their neighbors. And in terms of Russian House operations and innovations for the future, well, this has been and still is a great learning curve that will help us to tap into new audiences. We make new friends. We rethink our event format and all the processes for near future. And as today we don't know how life is going to turn out and be back to normal, maybe this is a new normal. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The projects and activity of the Russian House in London is very diverse. Which projects is special to you personally?
Oh, this is a tricky question, Mikhail. Tricky question. In good times, just before the pandemic started, when everything was apparently fantastic in comparison to what it is now, I think we hosted and supported around 250 events annually, both in Russia House and outside on the large-scale platforms. I love each single project. It's for me, it's hard to pick someone special and most likable, as you wish. I like each single one of the projects, and they create a great value in one way or another. They help to people to enjoy life, spend time together, build connections, and find out something interesting, and continuously involve more fantastic people into them. So it's really hard to choose. But saying that, back in 2018, I was really lucky to meet Brentwood Imperial Youth Band by absolutely sheer accident. It is a fantastic, closely knit, family-like group, well, a real family, of nearly 100 young people of all ages and backgrounds that share passion for music and values of love, respect, and dignity. It was formed back in 1990 by a member of the Order of British Empire, Mr. John Wyndham. And since 2013, the band is led by his son, Mr. John Paul Wyndham. John Paul, hello. If you're watching us, the Brentwood Imperial Youth Band, it is the largest independent youth marching band in the United Kingdom. And what's spectacular about them, they represented their country, UK, in Moscow's Spasskaya Tower music festival twice. and we were happy to assist them with making the journey to Moscow as smooth as possible. So for me, they really stand out because they extraordinary example of true British goodwill ambassadors, and they represent their country in the best possible light on the highest level. And when they come back, they talk of the high level of organization of the event in Russia, about fantastic people back in Russia, and it's all just great. So this is my favorite one, I would say.
Yeah. I think the audience really enjoys hearing about this wonderful events that had place in the Russian House in London. But again, I have to ask you about the complexities of being in the United Kingdom. British media often presents Russia in a negative light. Is it reflective of the popular opinion? It looks really that it's sort of ban for positive agenda regarding Russian Federation in British media. Does the position of the media and the government towards Russia and its people differ from that of ordinary Britons?
That's a great question again. Well, to answer your first question, in general terms, bad news sells. Unfortunately, it's the world's issue. That's how things work. And it's nothing to do with Russia-UK relations. As we mentioned previously, our people-to-people connections remain strong. We believe so. Our nations were great allies during the Second World War. A good example of that is Twin City movement that originated back in 1944 between Coventry and Volgograd and Stalingrad, two of the most war-torn cities in their respective countries. The Russo-British connection became the foundation for what is now a truly global phenomenon. The importance of the Twin City movement and significantly twinning with Russia is deeply understood in UK. The Crown was represented by the Deputy Lieutenant Les Ratcliffe at the inauguration of the Volgograd Square in the central Coventry during the 75th anniversary of their history-making bond back in 2019. Russo-British relations historically enjoyed the support of the British royal family in cultural and business relations. Really, coming back to this question as well, I'd like to take an opportunity to express our heartfelt condolences on behalf of the Russia House to Her Majesty the Queen and the members of the royal family and the British people on the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, the great son of the Russian Emperor Nicholas I. And many Russians commend him for his devotion to his marriage, his family, and many years of service to his nation and around the world. So to continue with my answer, as to the relations, Russian-British relations, we can also see recent examples. History is fantastic, and we are nothing without history. But recent examples of Russian-British mutual interest, it's very peculiar. For example, in the last 6 years, we had 4 absolutely fantastic bilateral years: Year of Culture, Year of Education and Science, Year of Languages, and Year of Music, spectacular Year of Music. This really shows what the cultural relations and that they follow their own independent trajectory, and they get absolutely unaffected by any political climate. I think that answers the question.
Before I ask you that questions that were posted by our subscribers, could you please tell us about the plans of the Russian House in London? What projects and events are you planning in case if everything is fine in the future, in 2021 and later.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, well, we think about future. We dream about future after pandemic. The plans can be, I would divide them into categories. Post-pandemic or the recovery from pandemic categories. The first group would be projects related to educational opportunities. Within the next couple of months, taking into the account that a lockdown will be lifted, we are relaunching our collaboration with the London School of Mathematics and Programming, something we've been doing for 5 years already. It's a school known as LSMP in London. It's run by fantastic Anastasia and Fred Stone and their great team behind this project. This is a truly unique project that utilizes world-renowned Russian mathematics and programming teaching methods and introduces the international young generation into fast-paced world of emerging technologies. So the school operates both in Russian and English languages, and we're really looking forward to see happy young faces back at Russia House. The second project is something that was born quite recently and was offered to us by School Znania, director Aina Mamaeva. This project was really born out of the challenges of this pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a project for young parents who had their first child in the middle of the lockdown. And this project will offer support and fill in this gap left by being unable to interact with friends, family, or professionals. And it will help young families with mental health, practical skills, as well as create new kind of community and interaction around Russia House. So these are the two projects that we're going to restart within the next couple of months. The second category is the creative projects, something that was most loved and most missed by London community. We are planning a COVID-secure concerts and events. This June will be especially busy. Pushkin birthday / Russian language day is traditional, widely celebrated here. And this year we're planning kind of stepping up it once again. The poetry marathon will aim to connect as many countries as possible across all the time zones and across the globe. We will continue to roll out hybrid events that combine safe Russian house-based events, as well as continuing and creating more online content for now well-established international audience. So we'll always tap into new audiences and new markets, as they call it. So we will continue to analyze and respond to the real demand, and as it forms and as it evolves in recovering or post-pandemic world.
Thank you very much, Anton. I really wish all these initiatives come true, and you are able to organize and host these wonderful opportunities for British people and Russian compatriots and all other friends that are very happy to join Russian House in London. So we ask our subscribers to send us questions to ask Anton, and we choose the most frequently asked questions. Here are some of them. The first one is, could you please tell the audience about the education initiatives that Russian House and generally Russian Federation supports in the United Kingdom?
No, fantastic question, fantastic. So one we just spoke about, this LSMP school, the London School of Mathematics and Programming. So on the top of this in-house collaboration with LSMP that supports Russian language from an innovative perspective, we work with every single school in the UK. There are many, the Russian school, well, actually, as well as British schools. there are many ways in which we support them. To name a few, we have dedicated state program providing Russian literature and student books. We're also starting to support examination of Russian as a foreign language within British education system. This is something that's been seriously let down due to the pandemic and due to the social distancing measures. School in the United Kingdom were closed for almost a year, so kids were studying at home and paying attention and spending enough time to learn languages, and especially Russian languages. It was a really hard challenge for kids. So online meetings. We do webinars for teachers of Russian language as a foreign language, and they were really popular throughout the pandemic. Also, Russian schools in the UK are very well organized, and the Russian consortium, that's a new type of structure that brings together Russian schools from all across the country. Coming together in consortium, it also gives Russian educators a greater and more noticeable presence and leverage within UK education system. So last but not least, we are continuously look for young, dynamic, and talented British students to offer them state scholarships to Russian universities. This again opens a great opportunity for Russian-British relations, and these students really become ambassadors in different subjects, in science, academia, or culture.
I would like to add to this question. Can you please tell what are the most popular specialities that are in demand from those who use that governmental scholarships to study in Russian universities?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, according to our research for the let's say past 4 years we've been doing this. The most popular are computer sciences and arts. These are two most popular, and I think Russia is fantastic at them. Russian academia is fantastic.
Okay, so the second question from our subscribers is: tell us what differences do you see in the British and Russian character? I think that is going to be a traditional question to all our directors of Russian houses.
It is a fantastic question. It is a fantastic question for director of Russian house. Well, the differences naturally exist. Us Russians, we are curious, inquisitive, and always open to new experiences. In our country, in Russia, it is easy to meet a person who traveled all across the world and studies multiple, for example, foreign languages. And that's not even for professional development, just for fun. Russia alone consists of over 160 nationalities and 800 plus ethnicities. And we all live together peacefully. So this ethnos embraces each other traditions, which are all part of one culture. I think that's fantastic. On the British side, speaking specifically about native community, not the multicultural residents of the United Kingdom, it's much harder to find this kind of person. British are very, on the other side, British are very entrepreneurial. They find ways to perfect their product or service at home, on the homeland, and they are good in rolling it out globally. So as opposed to Russians, there is less language learning happening here. Why learn other language when the whole world speaks English, where the whole world speaks your language? So the world is progressing, it's globalizing, changing, and the differences become less and less evident. The Russian house welcomes people of all cultures, Our dynamic, diverse community is built of British, Russians, and expatriates from all over the world. We do not think of any differences, but rather we build projects that bring people together to the best and showcase best of their culture and really connect it somehow with the Russian culture.
Well, okay. Now, one more question from our audience. Eventually, it would be professionally interesting to discuss between us so that peculiarities and complexities of presence in Britain or distinguishing features of humanitarian cooperation. But our audience is asking very simple things. What is the weather like today in London, and how does life in the United Kingdom differs from life in Russia? What differences stand out the most?
Yes, well, Mikhail, great question again from our audience. I think that's even more interesting than politics right now. Well, as we'll talk about today, as British say, if you don't like the weather, wait for 5 minutes. Today, the weather changed about 4 times. We literally had like 4 seasons in one day. We had sun, rain, a bit of snow, sun again. It's always changing, constantly changing. Weather, I guess, is quite similar to Moscow's, and except for winter, being much milder, and it's rarely snowing here. The real difference between the life in the UK and Russia is really felt during the national lockdown. From what I know and what I witnessed myself, Russia only had several months of national lockdown last year. So the restrictions were lifted quite quickly due to Russian scientists developing Sputnik V vaccine and other 2 vaccines, which were quickly rolled out. And the governmental measures were in place at the right time. So the social distancing measures were effective, and Russia, by and large, is back to normal, from my understanding. So, but you'll probably tell us better, because we're still, according to the latest news, we can't leave United Kingdom to Russia for another 1.5 months. There are no direct flights. So it shows a little bit of a reality. So. In the UK, we are positively looking forward to, as I said, June, July. After almost whole year of restrictions, they should come to an end. We could not do much really for the past year than just staying at home and going to supermarkets. Even the hairdressers were closed. So it was pretty dull in the way. British vaccination program now is making really good progress, and we wish United Kingdom a quick recovery and return back to normality, as everyone here eagerly waits to get back to theaters, concerts, exhibitions, and other social cultural events, of course in the Russia House as well. So we had a few. had the ups and downs, but things are going slowly back to normal.
Okay, so we are having some more questions, as our assistants inform me. They are mostly dedicated to perception of Russian culture and culture generally. And Britain people are asking, is there any popular Russian cinema or theatrical play? Which one of them is the most popular in the United Kingdom? Also, they're asking the same question about authors, literature, and generally asking us what type of Russian culture is mostly in demand in the United Kingdom.
Fantastic questions. Fantastic questions. Well, UK and especially London, cultural life is, as you know, very diverse and competitive. The standards here are very high. but Russian culture historically has its unique and special place in London scene. Multicultural British society and our compatriots have opportunity to enjoy full spectrum of events dedicated to the rich Russian culture. To give some examples, people here can enjoy tours of Russian theaters, coming actually from all over Russia. British West End staging of Russian plays. Personally, we are proud to support the first UK-based professional Russian-speaking theater, Chameleon. Big shout out to the founder and head, Vlada Lemishevska, who we gladly provided with the rehearsal space for their performances. They are a fantastic crew who offer London original readings of Chekhov plays, and I think they were doing Love in a Nutshell, a regional adaptation, and also staging award-winning plays by Tolstoy, Bulgakov, Dostoevsky. So, by the way, this author
celebrating 200 years. Dostoevsky celebrating 200 years.
Exactly.
Yes, celebrating 200 years since birth of Dostoevsky. So
yes,
it would be some special occasion in 2021.
Some special occasion in 2021. Hopefully we can do that. With the theater programs here are postponed because of the social distancing measures. So it would be impossible to bring someone from Russia, and there are no direct flights. Hopefully, Chameleon that I just spoke about will be doing something special. So we'll let everyone know about this. I'm pretty sure it will be online. But still something. As we were actually talking about the Tolstoy, Bulgakov, and Dostoevsky, these authors are incredibly popular in the UK, as they truly depict the depth of Russian soul and widely acknowledged as the foundation of international 20th century literature. So another good example of our support for various publications. So recently, just before pandemic, we hosted the book launch of the new translation of Dr. Zhivago into English by Nicholas Pasternak Slater, the great nephew of Boris Pasternak. So I think that really gives a good sense of appreciation of Russian culture and literature here in the UK. Going to the question about cinema, we are really lucky here, like no one, because we have two fantastic projects in the UK. One of them is a Russian British film festival directed by Lyubov Balagova called Sochi International Festival. It is aimed at building bridges by showcasing the best of Russian and British cinema. And the second project is the largest cinema festival abroad. It's called the Russian Film Week in the UK and the Unicorn Awards. It is directed by Philippe Pircon. This film festival really brings the best of Russian cinema to the British audience at the world-class venues here in London and all across the UK. What is also great about this festival is that the screenings happen not just in London, as I said, but on the regional level, like in Oxford, Cambridge, Leeds, and many other cities. And this gets a really great attention by multicultural population here. So to finalize, London has really rich representation of Russian heritage in the form of traditional Russian school of ballet and the large celebrations of national holidays. And London loves, for example, an event called the Russian Icons. It's Russian Icons of Russian Ballet. It's called. It's one of the most high-profile dance events in the world. It's directed by Olga Balakleets from Ensemble Production, our partner, long-term partner. And these are absolutely fantastic. It happens in central London, and it's impossible to get tickets there. It's just impossible. They're always sold out a couple of months before. So we really hope for these events to come back. So unfortunately, we don't have time to cover all the variety of Russian cultural events here in the UK. But yes, we answered some questions. So thank you to the audience.
Thank you very much for all the people that have heard us today. I really hope that this deep cultural impact and the presence of Russian culture in London will also help our countries to build effective, I would say, and positive relationship in future. At least we in the head office in Moscow, in Россотрудничества, and Anton then in London are trying their best to do that. So thank you very much for being with us. Wish you all the best, Anton, and the Russian House. We'll be happy to see you during our next broadcast that will be announced especially later. Goodbye.
Fantastic, Mikhail. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a great new format. It's really great to be part of such dynamic, diverse organization like Россотрудничества, how we call ourselves right now, the Russia House, which our organization is really dedicated to making such a positive long-term impact on people's lives all across the world. And Россотрудничество is a unique, one of its kind, really, a fantastic organization to work for. So thank you very much again. Thank you very much for the whole team. And also, it's, I mean, I just wanted to note, but the work is done in the UK by the organizers from the British side as well from the Russian side. And our compatriots, the Russian-speaking compatriots and community here, they've done absolutely terrific job over the years. And neither us nor British public would have a chance to enjoy this amazing variety of Russian culture if not for them, if not for the work they do. So thank you very much, everyone, and thanks to the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.